Hello, this is Ben McGee, and we're going to be going over the Law, Investigation, and Ethics module. So there's a lot of talk in this module about the computer crime laws. What constitutes a computer-assisted crime? What constitutes computer-targeted crime? What happens if something is modified, a parameter, remotely, or maybe destroyed? Is it illegal to do that? What about if you're able to attack a Windows 2008 server or 2012 server and obtain sensitive information, and then you go post it on a forum somewhere? Is it illegal to have unauthorized access? What about the use of malware? What happens if you write some malware and then release it and something nasty happens? We're going to be talking about those today, and hopefully you'll enjoy this. Many of us know about these e-assets, SSNs, PII, any medical, credit card, military things, and patents, copyright, etc. These are all considered e-assets, and really in our world today, everything's getting pushed up to the cloud, and you hear this all the time about any or all of these informations being leaked or hacked into and obtained. You can see here, based off of a report, how stolen information was used. Pretty much people are interested in getting credit card accounts, and the second would be to get bank accounts. So really it's all about the money. A few different types of laws that you're going to be tested on: civil, common, customary, religious, and mixed law systems are all things that we'll talk about now. There's a pretty cool slide right here that shows the different geographic views, the different types of laws. And I would tell you to go ahead and spend some time on these different types of laws. You may see 2 to 5 questions on your exam. So common law has what's called civil law and criminal law. You can also have this thing that's called administrative or regulatory law. So what's the difference? Well, civil is something that you can be taken to court where maybe you're going to pay restitution. Criminal is you're going to actually go to jail. And administrative or regulatory means that you didn't follow the rules, and you could get stiff fines or possibly even serve jail time. I know many of you may have in your life invented things or put together intellectual property. There's a lot of gray area out there, and what constitutes a trade secret? How about a copyright? What is a copyright? Trademarks are typically anything that you can associate with your company, a brand, for instance, a slogan. And a patent is, if you can come up with a scheme or drawing of something new and exciting, you can go and try to get a provisional patent or a patent pending and essentially achieve a patent. We've also sure heard over your career about the end-user license agreement and the software piracy. That's tightly coupled with the ability to obtain private information. And if you think about it, every time that you install a new program, you have to put in a license key. Big, stiff penalties for copying movies or software, $250,000 fine, and jail time. So on your exam, you will see probably 3 to maybe all 5 of these. And I would definitely spend some time going through Sarbanes-Oxley or SOX, HIPAA, Graham-Leach-Bliley, the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, and the Federal Privacy Act. spend some time to look through what each one of these is so you can better understand it. And if you have any questions, definitely let me know. Something that's really come to blossom here in the past 10 years is this PCI DSS. And I really think that it came out of the eBay, PayPal era, where they have different types of standards that need to be enforced for online auctions and bill paying. And really it's added some rigor to that specific market, giving more trust in being able to accept and pay online. And a few other ones here that we have, the Computer Security Act of 1987 and the Economic Espionage Act of 1996. So a lot of times before we get hired, we have to go through a background investigation. These background investigations typically give us a good idea if somebody was out drinking beer or doing bong tokes, or doing whatever they shouldn't have been doing, and hopefully the background check comes back pretty lame. And if it does, that means you're probably in good shape. So you can hire private investigators, you can have a national agency check, you can do a whole bunch of different background checks. I always will go out and ask Dr. Google about someone, and there's a couple of other sites that in a few of my labs I actually will give students the opportunity to go out and do a social profile on themselves and a friend. Usually when I hire somebody, I'll go out and do a pre-screening of them. Like I said, we don't want to see keg stands or them doing weird things out there. So you definitely want to know who you're getting in with as far as employees are concerned. They sign that acceptable use policy whenever they log on to your system. So I would encourage you to look at that and see how you can help to monitor employees. Easy way to remember due care and due diligence is DC for due care is due correct. Due correct, DC, due care, due correct. Due diligence, DD, is due detect, due detect. So DD, due detect, due diligence, DC, due care, due correct. Typically, we don't see many questions on liability, but it's probably a good idea that you just recognize that there's liability insurance out there, and some obligations that you need to be able to know that, hey, if you're in the vicinity, you do something wrong, it's your fault and you're liable for that. And that's called proximate causation. And typically people can come after you for either any of your bank accounts, or if you have some sort of umbrella insurance for liability, they can go and get that as well. Bunch of different types of things that we do, and when we're doing investigations, we'll go through and get a trained professional, somebody who knows what they're doing. Incident response is super important, and being able to have some sort of rigor to your process that gives you durability is a key word. That means that everything was followed properly, and as far as the chain of custody is concerned, that is super important. Making sure you have signed logs on who received what when, who checked things out, making sure that everything is on the up and up. And in any investigation, it's better to be overly cautious than not, because typically if anything is tainted, it can be thrown out in the court of law. As far as an incident response process is concerned, we've seen questions on the test that say, tell us the incident response process, and you actually have to know these for that specific question. So it's in order here. It starts from left to right. You prepare, you detect, you contain, you analyze, you eradicate, you recover, and then you follow up. And it's a cyclic approach. A lot of times on Law and Order or CSI Miami, you'll see these moms. And no, I'm not talking about the soccer moms. I'm talking about the motive, opportunity, and means. In order for somebody to be charged with something, they have to have any two of the three typically. And if they get all three, then they're probably a good candidate or suspect to be brought in and possibly test the justice system. So, and there's a whole bunch of different types of evidence that's shown here. Typically, we don't see many of these on the exam. If you do, definitely let me know, but usually the only one that we'll see is hearsay. And I think that most people know what hearsay means. A few different types of surveillance, computer surveillance. You can actually tap into the network. I know a lot of people are up in arms about the NSA and tapping into computers and networks and monitoring everything that's going on, as well as, you see the physical surveillance, somebody sitting out in the car with the camera taking pictures of you, or just of a suspect or whomever, being able to do that. Know the difference between enticement and entrapment, because you absolutely will see those on the exam. And a few different attack types that are out there. Usually we'll see the salami attack on the exam, IP spoofing, and some of the things in the excessive privileges. You will have one question on the Code of Ethics. I'm not going to go through and read all these right here, but this is specifically the ISC squared. But if you're taking the CEH or Security Plus, certainly, just if it's honest, if it's honorably, that's probably the right answer. Usually people don't struggle at all with any of these ethics questions, so just spend some time to read it. You don't necessarily have to memorize it, but if it sounds like it's the right thing to do, then it probably is. Okay, if you have any questions, shoot me an email or shoot us an email here at training@cyberprotex.com.